Welcome to the Imperfect Dads Podcast. This is your host, Devin. We believe dads care deeply about their family and kids, but they don't always have a space to discuss what their life looks like. Our podcast is a space for dads to discuss the ups and downs of fatherhood and how they feel like they're holding it together or how they're not. Thank you for joining us for this episode. This podcast is part of the Never a Face Network. Make sure to follow them on Instagram or go to the website neverafacenetwork.com. On this episode, we have on Todd Bell, the bass player for Braid, Hey Mercedes, and Fight Dice. We talk about his life as a teacher, his daughter now being a teenager, life in Wisconsin, how he became a teacher, traveling to Japan to play a show and bringing his family along, how they plan shows now since all of them have day jobs and full lives, early years of Braid and Hey Mercedes, time touring with Jimmy World, and being an older dad but staying young. And also just like one more thing.
Dad, just start the episode.
Oh, my bad.
Like when Chris was on, I also have 3 kids. He has 3 kids. And it was at like the end of us being full on dad summer. And I was just being like, did you feed your kid a popsicle for lunch today? And you're like, yeah, I did. So what?
Well,
who cares?
Roll it, because I'm an educator. I have summers off with my kids all summer too. So you and I probably live similar lives, although I think my kids are older than yours.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, so I have 3 kids. I have a 9-year-old daughter, 7-year-old daughter, and 4-year-old son. What about you? What ages? All that good stuff.
My son is 10. He'll be 11 in February.
Okay.
My daughter, she's 13.
Okay, cool.
So she's a freshman in high school this year. So that's a new thing and some, big changes to her, what's going on with her. And, and she's a total teenager right now. She's a handful.
Yep. My oldest she'll be 10 in February. And so, yeah, already I'm seeing all like the signs of her being like, hey, Holly, did you do this? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, what? I just asked you, like, if you put your shoes on yet. It's like, I'm not even being a punk. Like, come on. Like, give me the snarky. Yeah, everything's something.
It's the extreme irritability all the time.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I can't
wait.
I'm
trying to be cool. I try to be cool. It's just hard.
It is, man. I'm sure. I know your daughter's 3 years ahead of mine, but I know there'll be the moments where she'll be like, why'd you look at me like that? And I'm like, I just looked. I'm not even like, what's my face even saying right now, guys? Because I'm just existing.
Yeah. And it's crazy. Like the way that kids, I'm a teacher, so I've seen things change over the last 10, 15 years, just like how kids are and what they do and how they learn and what's going on and the advent and the complexity of screen time and everything is just crazy. It's just the weirdest time to be around young people right now, I feel.
Yeah,
it's fascinating and wonderful.
Yeah.
Don't take that the wrong way, but just to see kind of like how different things are now.
No, I mean, even like, I remember talking to at least one guest on here about how, like, I know whenever I turned 16 or whenever we were teenagers, like getting your driver's license was like the biggest achievement ever. You could blast music as loud as you wanted in your car. You had all this freedom. And I feel like kids nowadays are like, why would I need can't you just drive me? And I'm like, wait, we have different definitions of what freedom looks like and what like identity looks like. And I'm not sure how to navigate that.
Yeah. And I think that comes with the way that the parenting styles have changed since my parents were raising me and my brother, and the way that we do things. And sure, I would think that we all want what's best for our own kids and we want to keep them as safe as possible. But I think that, there's probably some stuff that I would do differently, but I don't really have any regrets with that. I probably helicoptered them to where they were like scared to do that. So they want me to come with them.
Yeah.
And whereas when I was a kid, it's also the difference between, genders too, with boys and girls. My daughter's different than my son. And when I was growing up, it was me and my brother and a bunch of neighborhood boys running around. We were wild. Yeah. So I just think it's a little different,
It is. Yeah. Versus like all right, cool. You guys go find a playground and have fun. Like go ride your bike a mile or 2 down the road and go find it. Where like even now, like I'm sure you've read Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. Have you read that book yet?
I haven't, no.
Okay. He talks a lot about that difference of like nowadays we almost live in a world in which like I live a half a mile from a playground where if I sent my daughters to that playground, I might get the cops called on me for being a neglectful parent. And it's like, well, I thought this was part of childhood for me. You just go find a playground, you play in it, you come back when you get bored or you get hungry. And like, that's not the reality we live in so much anymore.
Yeah.
So, but who knows? How's it feel to have a kid in high school? Is it kind of surreal to like more like not like how's it socially going, but like how's it feel for you to know you have a daughter that's old enough to be of high school age?
I don't really think about it. My daughter's always been super responsible.
Okay.
And I think when you mentioned that anxiety piece, she's a little bit, she's got some of those traits in her character where she's a little bit, she asks me a lot of questions. She asks for things that she knows she can have, but she just needs that, she'll ask me for things that she knows I'm going to say yes to. So it's just part of the way that we communicate and that things are done now. So she's always a little bit like not on edge, but just a little bit more anxious than my son is. So it's just a little different, but she's also really responsible. So I don't have to worry about her too much because I know that her anxiety kind of keeps her in check a little bit.
That's how my firstborn feels also.
The fear of certain things. She's like,
yes.
All right. So it just kind of keeps her grounded a little bit.
Yeah, pretty much. And if anything, since she has two younger siblings, I feel like we have to go up to her a lot and be like, you're just so you know, like you're not the parent. And like you actually like,
my God,
you're responsible, but you're not responsible for your younger sibling. Like I want you to, if they're doing something dumb, tell me, but also like, how do I guarantee you feel like you still feel like a kid because you're 9, you are a kid. So be a kid.
Yeah. I feel that is a big conversation at our house. Like mind your own business. We got it. Yep. You're not the parent. Yep. That sort of thing. And she's just trying to be helpful, but then she's also trying to be bossy too.
Pretty much. There's some element of control she's hoping for in that moment. And I get it. Or some fairness. There's some justice system in a firstborn's head where they're like, no, this is wrong. And I'm like, okay, that's your interpretation of what I said earlier. And I will now bend it just a little bit. Please calm down.
Yeah, we're right on the cusp of winter break here.
Yeah.
Like I told you before, I'm a teacher, so I got out of school on Friday, and my kids are irate because they have 2 extra days than I do because we're in 2 different districts, which are neighboring districts. So my district, our school wrapped up on Friday. So this is my first legit real day off. And I was like, these are going to be the greatest 2 days of all time because I get to get up and send my kids to school.
Yes.
And come back home, stay in my pajamas and get stuff done.
Do whatever you want. Were you able to be? Sometimes whenever my kids aren't, like whenever they aren't at home, I'm almost paralyzed by how much I want to get done that it's hard for me. I have to like make the list beforehand or else I just sit there and I'm like, shh, I just stared at my phone for 2 hours. Crap.
I actually had in my planner and my schedule for today to get a movie in this morning, and I was able to do that. So
nice.
I try to do that just a little bit of like my job is very stressful. I'm a special educator, so it's nice to like actually have time. Like I try to build in like some mental health and like, personal time for myself. And on days like today, it's perfect for that.
Yeah. I feel like that's something you have to learn because like as I get older, I'm 38. I've been married for 12, almost 13 years, but learning how to schedule like, hey, I'm literally going to take an hour to do something for myself is like something I'm still learning how to do.
Yeah. And it's harder with,
yeah.
It's my kids are older. Like you got a 4-year-old, so that's a little different, game. Like things are unpredictable in life, of course, always. But my son is homesick today because he had a terrible stomachache last night, threw up all over the place.
I'm sorry.
So I was like, all right, so this is my first day back, getting a little break, and he's home, so he's just upstairs. He's feeling a little bit better, but you just never know.
It's what it is. That happened to me. I do most of these podcasts remotely. And there's a guy who wanted to be on the podcast and found out he lives like 10 minutes from me, something like that. He's got a home recording studio. It's what he does professionally, all that. Scheduled it, did it within the time that my son is in pre-K. And then my daughter woke up with the flu. So I was like, yeah, there's just no. And my wife was out of town. So it's like, there's literally like, I'm just canceling. Oh my God. The one time I scheduled something in person is like, yeah of course you're going to have 2 kids sick. That's just how karma works.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Where do you live?
I am in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay.
I've been here for a little bit more than 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I was in the Champaign-Urbana area.
Yeah.
Where kind of Braid started. And then Braid initially broke up in 99, and we were all just kind of trying to figure out what to do. At that time, I was like 27-ish, and I was just not through playing music. And we kind of figured out really quickly that Bob and I were talking, and we started Hey Mercedes pretty quickly after that with Damon.
Yeah.
And then once we filled out that band with what we wanted to do, we didn't know what we wanted to do. We're like, well, we auditioned guitar players, but we were also like, do we want a girl singer? We have no idea what we wanted that band to even be. And then we kind of fell back into a traditional 4-piece rock band, which we're great at. And then once we got our guitar player to fill out Hey Mercedes, he happened to be from the Milwaukee area. And then Damon was living in Grafton, which is where my wife is from, and a bunch of my friends are from that area. It's about 20 minutes from Milwaukee, north of here. It made sense. I was like, well, Bob's in Chicago. He's not leaving. Damon and Mark are in Milwaukee. I'm either moving to Chicago or I'm moving to Milwaukee. And I chose Milwaukee, and it's the best choice I ever made. I love it here. It's the best.
I've never been.
It's fantastic. We get, it's Midwest, lake weather, and it's everything about Chicago that I love, but with like a little bit more of an art scene, a music scene, and it's a little bit more accessible and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
So it's all the things. And I literally, for what my wife and I do, which is just regular jobs, we get to live, a couple blocks from the lake and be able to afford to live here, with what we have. And it's wonderful.
That's awesome. And I mean, I also grew up, besides listening like Braid and Get Up Kids and all those, I loved like The Promise Ring a lot also, which I'm sure you're friends with those guys also. But yeah, I feel like Milwaukee was like an understated music scene also in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. What's your, you said you're a special education teacher. What's your wife do for a living?
She is a therapist.
Okay.
We have a lot of crossover.
Yeah.
With things, and she's only got into that the last few years. So she started her own therapy business, and she is just killing it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just meant. I feel my job has a lot of mental health aspects. Yeah. My job has a lot of just, if I'm a social worker, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, I'm a school dad. I'm not saying that's the umbrella of what is my job. I'm not a licensed social worker, but that's a part of my job.
Yeah.
Making sure that I know what's happening with families and that kids are safe and things are going okay. And, and then there's the paperwork and the back end and writing IEPs and plans for students so they can be successful and all kinds of needs. And
that is. How long have you been doing that for? Like, cause you definitely did music like late 90s, early 2000s and stuff. Whenever like Braid and Hey Mercedes started wrapping down, did you go back to school or did you finish up school? Okay, cool.
Yeah. I went back to school around the time that Hey Mercedes was, quote unquote, breaking up, because all of our bands just kind of, and that was probably, maybe 2003-ish, maybe a little bit before that. And I went back and finished my degree. That I just stopped going to college when our band, like when Braid started touring, we're like, awesome, this is what we're trying to achieve. Peace. Yep. And then I went on tour for 20 years or whatever. And then the college degree was just something I don't really care about it, but it was like a loose end that was just never wrapped up. And I just felt like I needed to get it done. And I kind of pooled all my credits and was like, all right, I could just get a communications degree here and finish this in like a year and a half. So I just went back to school, rocked it out, did like a winterim, spring, summer, fall, winterim, spring, summer, fall, just straight through and just rocked it out, got my degree, and then got into marketing, and I was working at a bank for a while, and I was doing all, but I was like completely unfulfilled. I was like working, and I was good at all the things I was doing, because being in a band and running a band and doing all the band stuff, and like I was in the early days, especially in all the bands I've ever been in, I've been the booker. I've been the guy that takes care of the van. I'm the guy that helps everybody with breaking down figuring out the money, I still do all of our merch.
Okay.
So I feel like that gives you crazy skills for like the world. So even when I was getting my first couple jobs after I got my degree wrapped up, people are like, what's this huge gap in your resume? And I'm telling them, and they're like, oh my God. And I was like, and I can do this, and I can do this, and and they're like, holy cow. It was like the best like training of all time to be like just like a well-rounded person that's good at everything. It's insane. So I did that for a while. And when I was talking about, I was just like, I don't want to just go to work and like work for someone else. And when I found teaching, and I am going to get to your answer.
No, you're good. Yeah.
But when I found that, I was like, this is what I've been looking for.
Yeah.
It has enough autonomy, and I'm left alone to do what I need to do. And I bring a lot of baggage home, but you also bring home a lot of success in helping others.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was missing in my regular job.
Yep.
So I found a good fit.
I feel like teaching has to have extreme highs and extreme lows where like in 1 hour
every day from
in
minute
the morning,
to minute.
Yeah, I was gonna say like because I mean I know being a parent, there's some mornings where I'm like, I'm good at this. I know what I'm doing. And then by 3 p.m. I'm like, I need a walk and no one to talk to me.
Yep. Yeah. So to answer your question, this is my 17th year.
Okay. Cool. Nice. Did you have to get a master's for it or is it just undergrad?
I didn't, but I do.
Okay.
So I went to an emergency certification for MPS in Milwaukee.
Okay.
They have, of course, even now more than ever, teachers, because they work so hard for so little pay, and it's hard to find people that are reliable and good that stick around. That at the time I was emergency certified for special ed because there was a lack of those teachers in the district.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was fast tracked, and it's like, you got a bachelor's, cool, we're going to push you through. And then I went to this program and then went through a traditional school, kind of like an express way to get everything that I needed to. But once that ended, I went instantly into a master's program, which was the best thing I ever did, because if I would have waited, I would have never done it. Because the work got so hard and so crazy that I would have never did it if I hadn't done it right away. Plus, it was kind of a bonus for me too. At the time, I had a master's 2 years in, so I was cheap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people were like willing to let, I kind of had, I don't know, going back when you're older and having, all the things that you already know. I'm not 22 entering this field. You know what I mean?
You're not. No.
So I'm like, oh, okay, that's how you do it. Those are the hoops you have to jump through. That's how I can do this the fastest. That's how I can get to the top of my pay scale. This is the district. I don't want to be in this district anymore because this is things that are happening here. And then you just kind of find your spot and you work your angles like you do with any job. You just kind of like figure it out and figure out how to do it. And I entered the field, as a affordable teacher with a master's 2 years in, and I'm, a male special educator in a female dominated profession that needs a lot of male role models, a lot of kids that don't have dads and things like that. And, I'm just a school dad.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's interesting because like I'm 38. I've been a stay-at-home parent or whatever, homemaker since 2019. And whenever my youngest goes to school next year, I'm like, what, do I go back to college to do something like that? And my mindset on it is like, okay, if I want to work this job, if I want to do something like that, what's the process? What do I need to do? What are all the blah, blah, blah? Whereas like, as a teenager in my 20s, I was like, well, who do I want to be? What do I want to become? What can I learn? And now I'm like, no, what's the process? How do I work this process? Tell me the process. I'll figure this out.
That's the way I think. And that's the way my brain works.
Yeah.
And yeah. Back in the day for me, it was like, how do we get to where we can go back to Europe? How do I get to where we can knock off these couple states that we haven't played in yet?
Yeah.
And the bands to us, even nowadays, all the bands and stuff that I play in, that's kind of what it's all about. It's about this. It hasn't, that part of it for me hasn't changed. Our idea of a successful show or tour is to get to a destination that's a vacation spot.
Which is a good segue into, I think whenever I had Chris on, what made me want to ask you to come on was Chris told me, did you guys do a tour in Japan and you brought your family with you and turned it into like a vacation while you were over there?
Yeah.
How was that? Tell me about that experience. What made you be like,
great.
Let's do it.
And we're doing it again in like
Are you
a couple
really?
months too. Yeah.
Nice.
So like we've been very lucky with all the bands. Hey Mercedes has been a couple times to Japan. I think we've been 2 or 3 times, and Braid's been 4 or 5.
Cool.
So we went punk rock style in 1999. As before, like I think that was the last thing that we do before we kind of called it quits. We were already planning on breaking up, but we had this tour booked that I booked with the help of a friend, and Damon was involved and he was helping too. And like literally it was a punk rock Japanese tour. We booked the cheapest flights possible to where I think we left from tour. This is the insane stuff. Like we went, this has happened multiple times to where we're like, we're out east. We're going to catch a plane in Dulles, and we're going to go to Kim Coletta's house first because she's going to drive us to the airport so we can leave our van at her house.
Yeah.
And then our first flight to Japan, check this out. We left from, we're all Midwesterners. We're all from the Midwest, but we left from Dulles, went to Alaska, switched planes or had a layover. Yeah. This is a long time ago. It's hard for me to remember. Yeah. And then we flew past Japan to Korea, to Seoul.
Yeah.
And then flew to Japan. That whole flight took us like a day, entire day of travel. Yeah. And then we get to Japan, we're picked up, we pick up our gear, and we go straight and play a show. So I remember having a t-shirt balled up under my head, trying to get a couple minutes of sleep on a concrete floor backstage in Japan at our first show because we'd been up for 30 hours.
Yeah, of course you had been.
And then of course you learn a lot, and you're like, it was so fantastic and it's so great, and no one gets to come here, especially a small Western band like us. And then we're like, that was a great thing for us to do, even though it was incredibly hard. But when you're young, it doesn't matter. You just do it. And I've literally just done the craziest shit with no sleep or just borderline exhaustion. But that was a building block for us to go back multiple times. And Hey Mercedes is actually going for spring break in early 2026. And that'll be my 7th time going with the band to Japan.
I'm assuming it lines up with the spring break for your school system. Yep. So are you going to bring your kids and wife with you too?
Yeah, and that'll be the 2nd time we've done that because
so cool.
When Braid went and played the 25th Frame and Canvas anniversary, we had some Japan shows set up, and we're like, we want to come. It was fantastic, and that was the first time that I was able to bring my entire family because I don't want to bring them when they're younger.
No, of course
I want to make sure they're. But it was still really tough on my son. The time difference just really. Like he was laying down in the subway on the ground,
buddy.
Like he just like exhausted.
Yeah.
Like we did. Of course, we went to Tokyo Disney, and I remember we were waiting for the train at the end of the day, and he just kept laying down, and he was just spent.
I'm done. But also, like that's fair. It's what, like 12 hours ahead of your normal time. Like it makes sense. Like I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like in the middle of the night for him. It's like it's like we're getting on the train at like 4 a.m. for him.
Yeah.
It's wild. But yeah, it was really nice that I guess it was, let's see, that was about 1.5 years ago that we did that. So almost 2 years ago we did, but also like this isn't the first time that we brought extras either. We always have brought our significant others. My wife has been a couple times with us. So I think when we go back as a family in the spring, I think this will be her 4th.
That's so cool. That's awesome. I'm glad you guys are able to figure that out.
That's what I said earlier about like making it worth, the travel and being able to do things. Like who can say that? Who can say that they've been like just frequently to a place that's that fantastic that many times? And it's all been like my part has been mostly covered.
Yeah.
Like it's always been with the band. I was like, and I tell my wife and I tell my family, I was like, if you're okay with this is kind of how we have to do it because it's really expensive. Yeah. But if we can kind of build in these things to help us recoup, and we're playing shows and we're doing these things. And also along with that comes our wonderful Japanese friends and team that are like, hey, we basically have tour guides for free. We've got people that speak the language. We've got people that speak the
Yeah.
language, and they just help us do whatever. And it's crazy. And then like even today, no, it wasn't today, it was yesterday. Our friend over there that books a lot of shows, he's like, "Hey, I'm coming." Well, here, I'll read it to you because it's amazing. He messaged me a couple days ago and just said, "Hi Todd, can I stay at your house on January 15th?" And I just said, "Of course." And he says, "Thank you. I'll get back to you when I decide to go there." Because his English isn't great, but we just use WhatsApp to kind of like do everything. And so when Hey Mercedes has a couple shows, just 2 in January, and he's flying in. That's not his destination. He wants to get to Chicago, but we have a show in Milwaukee, and we're going to drive him to Chicago. We play this little bit of a bigger show with Ryan and Maria, our friend's band Pogo from Florida, and I think our friend from Japan wants to hook up with those guys because he's pals with them. But just
That's cool.
The fantastic how small the world gets so fast when you are able to just network and meet a lot of cool people.
That's awesome. And I would assume that since it's like a tour schedule and stuff, like you've booked it like months in advance. So you and your wife can like discuss it, plan it, set some money aside for it if you need to.
Yeah.
Because like my wife will travel for work pretty consistently. And like this last like 2 or 3 months ago, she got to go to England or London for work. And we were like, "Oh, can I go too?" But it was like by the time she booked the plane tickets, it was like booking the week before. And, I wanted to go, but that was a lot of logistics. Like, hey, you'd be leaving Sunday. And it's like, that's a lot of money, a lot of logistics. We got to fly out family, all that stuff. Do you guys live near family? Like if your wife goes with you to a trip, do you guys have like grandparents nearby who can come and help out with the kids?
Yeah, a little bit. But
yeah.
As old as my daughter is now, we can leave.
Yeah.
Not for a super long time, but like for an overnight or a weekend. And she's pretty responsible. We have people check on them. But also my family is in central Illinois and we don't see them a whole lot. They're not around, but my wife is from the area. So we do have grandparents here if need be.
Sweet.
And we got a big friend group. So they're all come here and help them get to bed and then leave, just to make sure, check on them, make sure they're good. So we're good.
That's our go-to for we live like in the suburbs of Denver, and like our neighborhood is really good with people who have kids about the same age as us. And it's like, hey, my wife and I literally just want to like eat a meal, like spend an hour and a half without answering questions the entire time, or maybe eat Thai food, maybe eat something that isn't filled with ketchup. Can our kids just watch a movie at your house? And then we'll come pick them up when we're done with dinner. And like almost everyone's like, "Yeah, sure. Can you do that for us next week?" And we're like, "Yeah, of course. That'd be great."
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like my son is in soccer and we have a whole like carpool group that kind of helps with all that stuff. But he was coming home from soccer yesterday and he's like, "Hey," his friend, he's like, "They're just going to, instead of taking him home, drop him off at my house." And then so he comes in with like another soccer friend and they're just like dropping all their soccer gear everywhere and just like happy to be, on a play date.
Yeah.
And it's just like, they're just like, they're really good about just, being available. And the parents are like, "Cool. Yeah. We know where they are. They're safe. Yep. They're good."
That's awesome. It's an element of parenting that I didn't expect to be when we lived in Nashville and we moved out to Denver area a year ago. And in Nashville, we more had to drive to friends to get to them. They didn't live in our neighborhood. And now living in a neighborhood in which it's casual like that, like my middle child plays soccer and it's like, "Hey, do we need to pick one up on the way?" And it's just so part of the like natural rhythm of life that it's just really rewarding to be able to give that to your kids of like, "Hey, if your friend wants to come over, like go knock on a neighbor's door, go see what's up." And like, it's nice. It's phenomenal to have community.
Yeah. It's really nice that I feel that in Milwaukee, also, it's 10 minutes to get anywhere. It's really easy to get around in. I mean, traffic has gotten bad over the last couple years, but I feel 10 or 15 minutes I can get nearly anywhere I want to go. And then the kids just have a couple friends in the neighborhood, but the neighborhood we live in is a little older. As you get older and you move to a nicer, more family-oriented neighborhood, but all the kids are kind of grown up around here. So my kids are definitely the youngest in the hood. But they've got friends around the corner that they're pretty close with. And, they just kind of find things to do. It's good.
That's awesome. That's so great. Do you, are you like technically, or would you consider yourself like an older dad? Did you wait until a little bit later on in life to have kids?
Yeah. Yeah, my daughter was born. Let's see. She was born right before I turned 40.
Okay.
So my wife was my wife is 6 years younger than I am, and she was on the cusp of like, all right, if we're going to have a second kid, we gotta talk about it because, it's more important for you to make sure that we don't have any complications. And it's just took some planning, but that's just what you do when you're a partnership and you're just trying to make it all work.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, I was definitely an older dad.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's crazy because all of my interests are, of course, I love records and vinyl records and skateboarding and BMX and comic books and toys. And like, I'm just like a 50-year-old child, really is what it is. But like, I'm playing guitar with my son. We're skateboarding together. Like things that I'm lucky that I'm healthy and the lifestyle that I kind of lead and as active as I am, that it's just fascinating and wonderful that I can get out and do those things with him. My daughter was into it a little bit, but as she got older, she doesn't care. She just wants to shop and hang out with her friends and do that sort of thing. So at least I have my little mini me as my son.
That's right.
I can go do.
Yeah. And at some point in time,
with.
Yeah, I know my kids will look at me and be like, we just don't want to be around you because you're my dad. And I did that to my parents. Everyone does that to their parents. It's just
That's kind of started happening the last couple of years with my daughter. So it's like, all right, I'm going to give her space.
Yeah.
I'm going to touch base with her, make sure she has what she needs. It's usually me texting from downstairs. Like, are you hungry? I made this. Do you want to eat food? Just so I'm not, I came home. I was at band practice last night for another one of my bands. And I get home and my daughter's like, Dad, I'm hungry. Will you make me some pasta? I'm like, why not? It's 8:30. Sure.
Let's do this. Yeah.
So I just made a full blown meal at like 8:30 at night. But yeah. So yeah, things are good. The kids are great. They're into their own stuff. And it's just really fun to watch them become like people.
Yeah, it is. It's so cool. My kids are just, are still in the process of getting to that where like, they have things that I'm like, oh, this might be a core identity thing. Like this is going to be something like my oldest reads a lot or listens to a lot of Harry Potter. And I'm like, oh, whenever you're in your like 20s, you're going to probably still remember being this age and like doing Harry Potter stuff. Where like my 4-year-old, I'm like, you like trains and dinosaurs. When you're in your 20s, you probably aren't going to you might still be talking about trains and I don't know. Are you going to still be talking about trains and dinosaurs?
Yeah. and the influence that, as a parent, you want like taking my kids when they're like 3 and 4 years old to like comic shows and like comic cons and dragging them around to like stuff that I still do that. My daughter usually doesn't come, but my son still does. I'm going today. Like Milwaukee has a lot of random, like total comic book guy card table at like the Best Western Conference Hall.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Like I go to a lot of comic shows and toy shows like that just to look around, and half the time I don't even buy anything. I'm just there for nostalgia and like, oh shit, that's cool. And to look at stuff and me and a lot of my older adult friend group are still into a lot of that kind of stuff. So it's just like an interest that I still am able to get out and do things for. And it's really fun. So I'm usually dragging my son along.
Do you guys, since you are like a full-time educator and stuff, do you do tours that much, or do you do just mostly like one-off shows where you're like, all right, we're doing this weekend and stuff?
Well, it takes a lot of planning because I mean, the two main bands that I would do that with are comprised of 3 of the same guys, myself, Damon, and Bob.
Yeah.
So we talk all the time, and it's usually, and then once we find an opportunity, we'll move it to Chris from Braid, or we'll move it to Mike from Hey Mercedes. But Mike's on tour as a sound guy. That's his job. So we have to find a time that he has a break in his schedule, that we're not interfering with his bands and the things that he's doing. But then we also have to, like, if it's a Braid related show, Chris has got 3 kids.
Yep.
His wife Sonia is super busy making all that work. But usually it has to kind of go around my schedule first, because I have very specific windows. So we got Christmas, which usually doesn't really compromise a whole lot because there's not a whole lot going on. We did a New Year's Eve show in the past.
Okay.
Like Braid
Yeah.
played one of those one time just for fun.
Yeah.
Like because we had an offer and it's like, oh, this makes sense. Let's just
Why
do
not?
it.
Yeah.
And then I got that summer window. And now that my kids are older, it's like that is all available if we
Yeah.
can make anything work.
Yep.
But then Damon, he's an event planner promoter that works for a large company near Nashville where you used to live.
Yeah.
And he's down there. He's like, oh, I can't. He's like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do it that weekend. I'm doing Depeche Mode on Saturday and Justin Timberlake on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, like that. It's like, oh my God. All right, cool. You're not going to be able to do that.
Of course.
So he does. And I'm not even, he tells me what he does, but he used to work when our bands kind of stopped. Damon went and got working in the business as a tour manager, drum tech, and then that bled into him running part of Warped Tour for a couple of years.
Why not?
And then that expanded into kind of what he's into now. So everybody is super pro.
Yeah.
Everybody is like, everybody's on the same page.
Cool. Yeah, you all are like, hey, we're busy, we're doing stuff. We want to do the band, we want to play shows together, but let's start talking now because it's going to take a bit.
Literally us being like I was explaining this to someone actually fairly recently, and I'm like, I don't want to have any regrets. I don't want to have any regrets. Be like, oh man, I wish we would have done that. We all just do it.
Yeah,
we do as much as we possibly can.
That's cool.
And you just make it. And if you really, really want to do it, you're gonna find a way to make it work.
Yeah, that's cool.
With all your obligations, with all your family,
you'll figure it
everybody. And it's like, I think about myself solely and the stuff that I have to organize, take care of to make it work. And then you multiply that by at least 4 or 5 other guys and all the stuff that they have to do. And I think another big thing in the last 10 years that has really kind of made me look at it differently too is, and you probably talked to Chris about that, is Chris getting through cancer.
Yeah, we actually didn't talk too much about it, but yeah, I know he had cancer.
And you're like, I should have zero excuses. Like the fact that you're healthy and willing to play, let's go.
Then we got to capitalize. We got to do this now. Yeah,
like we're kind of getting like, you know, a second chance. The fact that, you know, I mean, I could count a dozen times I should have died on the road doing something ridiculous or stupid or, you know, hanging out of a moving van or doing something stupid with fireworks or
eating something, just microwaving something and be like, I'm sure this won't kill me later.
Anything. Partying in excess, you know, things like that were just crazy wild times. The fact that we're healthy, still sound good as a band, you know, and can get through it, and people care enough to show up.
People want to show up. You know what, man? If I've never shown up anywhere with a guitar and anyone's wanted to hear me play, so that's not something to be understated.
Yeah, we're lucky that way. So we got a lot of cool fans and support, and you know, we've been doing this for so long, and we kind of know, like, all of the people that like our band. I think we know most of them personally. Like,
yeah, that's cool.
Just through we're just Midwest nice people, and we just always kind of like did it the right way and understand we're music fans before we were in a band. That was first, you know, so like we have experiences of us going to talk to bands and how important that is. And I feel like when we started, we were just always really open and, you know, interested in talking to people and getting to know people and meeting people that are interested in coming to see our bands play. And it's made the world a difference. It's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I'm originally from Indiana. So like, growing up in the Midwest, you just be kind of kind to everyone that you possibly can. No, you probably are there for like to enjoy the moment or whatever it is. And like, just try not to be too much of a jerk. That's kind of
what part of Indiana did you grow up in? How, up until what age?
I'm from Evansville. So I lived in Southern Indiana until like I was 18 or 19 and went off to college. So yeah.
Cool. Okay.
I'm one of 3. I'm the only one who did not go to IU. I went to Belmont, which is down in Nashville.
Okay, cool.
Which is how I ended up down there.
No, Indiana was a 45-minute drive for us from Champaign.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So we would go play in Bloomington at Rhinos. We would go play at Door Number 3 in West Lafayette. We'd play at the Sitcom in Indianapolis. So like that was a day drive worth of, like, that was in our region of
wheelhouse,
shows that
whatever,
we could do. Yeah, that we can do pretty easily.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like, I don't know, I think like, I don't even know if like college radio exists anymore. Cause I remember growing up in the Midwest and be like, hey, here's the local college radio station, which they're playing Braid. They're playing all these alternative bands from these college Midwest towns. And I don't know if that exists anymore. I don't know. Cause there's so many ways to listen to and consume music now that I don't know if like those programs exist like they used to.
They do.
Okay.
They do, and they're out there, but they're just, they're nonprofits, or they're run by, people that are doing it for the right reasons. There's some really great local Milwaukee radio stations, and I still know people that do, like our buddy Bix, that is our main, like the fifth member of both of our bands, that just is always out helping with merch. He's just always on tour with us. He still does a radio show that is in his local little Podunk, Pennsylvania town that he does once a week. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
And now it doesn't matter. Like, the difference between then and now is he can just stream. I can listen to it from home, and I can just stream it from there. Whereas before you had to be,
within the radius of the,
yeah, it's a different thing.
That's awesome. Have you guys played like I know like there's a lot more tours and festival now, like When We Were Young and Best Friends Fest and all that stuff, where bands that have been around for a good 20, 30 years are now starting to play those. Have you guys played any of those shows yet?
Yeah, we played the first two Best Friends.
That's what I thought. Okay, cool.
Braid played it the first year, and Hey Mercedes played it this year.
Nice. That's
and
cool.
that was a whole lot of fun.
Was it? Okay, cool. I want to go to one of them because I keep on seeing the lineups and being like, oh man, let's go. But like, my wife doesn't want to go to that. So I got to find a friend who's willing to go.
My wife does want to go, but she has no interest in seeing any of the bands.
Does she want to go to? She wants to go to Vegas, but not to the show.
Yeah, because she wants to sit by the pool and go shopping.
Yep.
So, which is great. But
That's
like,
awesome.
this last time when she did come, she had a little bit more fun this time because she was excited to see Jimmy Eat World when they played, and she likes them. So it's kind of funny. I was like, I'm glad I can take you on vacation to see Jimmy Eat World. I'll be playing over here, by the way.
That was, by the way, I'm playing a set to a couple, like hundreds, maybe even 1,000 or so people. But fine, just wait for Jim Atkins to walk on stage. We'll be okay. We'll be fine.
Yeah, and when those guys, I mean, the crazy thing is that, like, even just thinking about those guys in that band, I played. I think I played Words with Friends with Jim for like 15 years.
Yeah, it's just Jim. It's not Jim of Jimmy Rowe. It's just Jim.
And when right before they blew up.
Yeah.
When Bleed American was out, Hey Mercedes was on tour with them.
Yeah.
But it's before they went, and that happened very fast. But that was also that week and a half of shows that we were doing with them at that time. That was during 9/11.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
we were in New York a couple days before, because I have a picture of me and Bob in the Empire State Building, and that's when the cameras when you had your the pre-phone.
Yeah.
Like when you had your camera that would put the date on the picture.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I have the date on the picture a couple days before that actually happened, and then we were heading west, and then I remember on that morning I was in a hotel with Bix.
Yeah.
And I woke up, and he was watching TV. And he's watching the news. I thought it was a movie. Literally, right? Yeah. I woke up in time to see the second plane hit, and we're like, what are we gonna do?
What is this?
What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
And we had a show that night in Detroit, and a friend sent me a ticket stub to the show that never happened.
Yeah.
That was the 9/11 Jimmy Eat World Hey Mercedes show in Detroit.
Yeah.
That just never happened, and we took a day off that day. Because we're like, we literally, the world is falling apart. I thought it was going to be like Red Dawn,
Yep.
Because we're driving back to Milwaukee because that Detroit show was canceled. The next day we had off, and we were planning on going back to Milwaukee anyway. And then we had a show in Minneapolis at First Ave the following day, and I think that was the last show. But driving back to Milwaukee on the Turnpike, there were cars. Everybody was in panic mode, like buying water, filling up gas. There was a gas station that totally, like, it's scary stuff, like roll up the windows, like be careful, whatever you do. But there was one gas station that had like 30 cars in line getting gas, and we're like, what is happening? And
We
it was
got to
just
get
such a
home.
weird,
We got to get to home
weird-
base. Yeah.
That's what we did. We buckled down and we just flew home. We went out to breakfast so we could like get settled. And we called Jimmy Eat World and we're like, what are we going to do? They're like, we're canceling. Like, all right, let's talk tomorrow on the day off and figure out if we're going to do Minneapolis. And that Minneapolis show was super somber and super weird. And then that was the last of that. But then right after that, everything kind of worked itself out. And then like a couple months later, those guys were like beyond big. And they're just huge now and they're just doing so well. And they're such great guys.
That's great. Well, I think they also like around that time, didn't they not rebrand, they retitled their album to just self-titled because they didn't want to be around with an album that said Bleed American after, a tragedy had just happened to American citizens.
I'm not fully sure if that was their decision or not. I think that was a label
I got you. Yeah.
But yeah, that happened. Yeah,
That's
that
valid.
did happen. And also at the same time, because I think the same week that record came out, the Strokes' This Is It also came out. And in America, they took off the song New York City Cops off of that record.
Yes, that's right.
Too.
Yes.
Which is odd. I love all that weird stuff like that.
I do too. I think even Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, since it has, the Chicago parking structures, which are 2 towers. I can't remember if Wilco also got some grief for that because they're like, hey, you can't, like, are you sure I'm going to be putting something out that has a picture of 2 towers? And you're like, I get it. You want to be sensitive to a tragedy. But there's so many things from that time era. Are
you familiar with the Supertramp's Breakfast in America cover?
I am not. Hit me up with this.
There's like a waitress and it's a skyline of a Manhattan skyline.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. But the Twin Towers are there, but there's also like a conspiracy theory where like 9/11 is spelled out it's just ridiculous. Look it up sometime. It's a funny little
man
caveat to like just stuff like that. Yeah, it's bonkers.
Well, I'll start wrapping up the episode. How I end every episode is ask every guest a series of 5 questions. They're kind of like fun icebreakery questions. The first question would be, did you have any backup names for your kids? Like, did you have any names that you almost named your children?
Yes. My daughter was almost named Gemma.
Okay.
And we chose a different name. And then that name actually was taken by a family friend who was like, oh, that's such a great name. And we never,
Dibs.
My daughter almost was named Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Too. And I'm glad. And then I really wanted an Oliver. My son was almost Oliver. And between Brooklyn and Oliver being on the table, I'm so glad we didn't go that route because being a teacher, there's pockets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tell, like, oh, that was like the year of the Elsa.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
The year of the Brooklyn. Like Oliver was hot at that time. And I had that name. I've had it for 20 years. I've always liked it, but I'm so glad I didn't because of that. There's a lot. So it's just not as unique as it used to be.
No, I always liked the name Emmeline. I thought Emmeline was really pretty. But yeah, whenever we were having kids, like everyone was Emma or a variation of Emma. And my wife was like, no, we can't do it. We can't do it at all. So I'm with you. You're like, but I've wanted this name for like forever. And then you're like, I'll be annoyed by it because it feels like it's trendy and I can't deal with that.
And then because I'm just like, I like to be annoying to my wife, but I was like, well, what about, because our last name is Bell, right? I was like, well, what about Tinker? What about Alexander Graham?
What about Anna?
Right. Annabelle.
Does she just not have it anymore? I feel like my wife anymore just doesn't have a reaction. She just moves on and continues the conversation.
She just doesn't listen to me anymore.
Talks about something else. But also though, like, I get it. Like whenever my wife just starts talking about something else, I'm like, I do the same thing. I totally don't encourage this. This isn't good.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Do you have a favorite TV or movie dad?
Let's see. Favorite TV or movie dad?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that this one's been said 1,000 times probably on your podcast, but Red from That 70s Show, right?
Oh, he's so good. He's so good. Yep.
Because he's just everybody's a jackass. They're in the way. They don't know what they're doing. You know, that's always a good one. That's the only one that really comes to mind I can think of. I'm sure there's better ones.
No, it's not. So the question isn't who's a TV dad or movie dad that you want to be. It's just whenever I think, because people have said Peter Griffin before or Homer Simpson, they're awful father figures, but they're greatly entertaining.
And there's also a running joke in our band about the dad from Alf, Willie. But it was always just like a really bad, and we didn't even call him by his name. We would just say we call him the dad from Alf, because that was always the punchline of jokes. It's just silly, stupid.
That's awesome. Next question. Did you ever have a go-to replacement curse word? Like whenever your kids were younger or even currently? Do you have one?
It was usually fudge. Fudge? Okay.
You went full Christmas Story.
Just because it's like you're already almost there and you change it at the end really quickly. Yeah. And it was usually by default because I was about to say the F word. But we swear a lot in my house, and my kids kind of swear a little bit too, and we're trying to get a handle on that right now. It's just potty mouth stuff that's just happening. We're all really bad.
I get it, man. It's a lot of dads have been like, as long as you say it around the house and I understand the context and you're not being mean, I get it.
Yeah.
But also, if you say it at school, I can't save you. So good luck.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of conversation about that too. It's like if it's said in anger or towards somebody, it's different than stubbing your toe and saying something like that. You know?
Yep.
It's a different.
Well, my kids are younger, and they'll be like, oh, that's stupid. They did that, and they'll be like, you can't call someone stupid. And I'm like, I'm not calling them stupid. I am characterizing their action as stupid, which is a concept you don't understand. I just won't say stupid next time.
Yeah, and my wife and I are terrible with that, especially in the car. And
yeah,
you know, the kids are just around that.
Yep, pretty much. Next question: what's one of your favorite activities that you do with your kids?
We do. I'm lucky. I'm a very lucky man because I call myself summer dad, because since my kids have been born, that is the same 4 or 5 years before my daughter was born. Or maybe not even that long. 3 years before my daughter was born is when I switched careers and became a teacher. And so from the instant that they were young, I was able to have summers with them every summer.
That's so cool.
Their entire lives, I've been able to be home with them and still hold on a full-time job. I plan many things. I have a list. Every summer I have a list of me and my kids do this thing. We don't do it as much anymore. They're older now, but we used to see how many parks that we could get to during the summer. We always go to there's a local park that's nearby that they grew up in, that we would go to that park. We go to that park 10 times during the summer, but we can only write it down once.
Yeah.
But we got to try to get to as many exclusive parks, as many as we can all summer long. And then we got to make sure we go here. We got to make sure that we go 20 minutes away is this really great little, really small water park, but it's super fun. And it's a local park. We want to go there. So I feel like we go out to dinner a lot. I took my son to lunch yesterday just to get a milkshake, because my daughter was with my wife in Chicago yesterday. I was like, we got to do something fun today. Let's go do this. But then one of my favorite things that I do with my son is there's a lot of local DIY skate parks in Milwaukee.
That's cool.
So he and I go to a lot of those just to screw around a little bit. And then my daughter and I, it's usually running to Dunkin' Donuts before school, or doing something like that together. Having food is a big part of our life. We love to eat. We all love to eat. We all like to go places, but just doing things having one of my favorite things to do. We're very lucky that we can walk 2 blocks and we can walk down to Lake Michigan. So we have this little, there's this little nook in our neighborhood that has a pathway down to the lake.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
we try to go down there as much as we can to see the frozen water, to swim, even though it's super cold.
Yeah.
Just to mess around, it's just, being near nature that way, and being near a big body of water like that is pretty cool that we have that.
That's cool. And if you haven't been to Lake Michigan or seen Lake Michigan before, it does look like you're looking across the ocean. It does just go on forever and ever and ever. So this is like an ocean. This is oh, this is huge. This is massive.
Just talking to my kids, be like, you guys are so lucky. I can drive 10 minutes from here and we kind of cross the Continental Divide.
Yeah.
And I talk about this is our watershed. We're lucky that we have access to the world's largest freshwater source.
Yeah.
or the second. Maybe there's one in Russia or something. There's another big one somewhere. But it's like, it's just like fun to like teach your kids about that kind of stuff and be like, this is really cool that we have this.
It is. Yep. We're still getting used to that out here of like a 2-hour drive in Nashville is like Chattanooga. You get close to Knoxville, which is all great and everything, or in my hometown in Southern Indiana. Out here, 2 hours is like Breckenridge and Vail or the Rockies. And I'm like, this is really like, guys, this is really cool to be a 2-hour drive from something people hope to be able to see at some point in their life, and just try to be lucky about it, you know?
And yeah, it's pretty flat out here, but like, yeah, the fact that your backdrop is you can see on your horizon is mountains, you know?
Yeah,
it's
no, it's cool. Ridiculous. No, it's makes you a lot more aware of cardinal directions because like west, it's there. You know exactly where it is.
Same. And that like we geographically, we have the lake. We're like, the lake's that way. So, you know, that's always east. That's east. That's east. So
that's it feels so dumb, but to be like excited about it. But like here I am being like, look, guys, you already know where west is. It's over here. Unless you're next to him.
And I think that is super important to me because of, again, when I talk about the things that I gained from being in a band and like learning navigation, how to read a road map.
Yeah.
Those things that are like lost skills nowadays.
Very much. Yep.
Just being able to turn on GPS and follow it on your phone nowadays. It's like, for the longest time in New York City, every time I went there, I had this little like 5x5 laminated card that was an old CMJ map from where they would, and I had that in my back pocket. And every time I went to New York, that's what I had. Like, oh yeah, this part of Soho and the East Village, I always get turned around. I'm not sure where I am. And you just have something like that on you all the time.
Yeah.
And now you don't have to worry about that because you just put in directions on your phone and get there.
But
it's a different thing.
Remember the first time being in New York and trying to do the subway by myself and getting on the subway on the wrong side of the street. So I was going uptown instead of downtown and not realizing it until I was about 3 stops down.
And
so
and you just,
it's great.
Yeah. And then you're like that. You're that guy that has to like get off, walk up over the platform and go back down and go back the other way. We've all done it. We've all done it.
And then you swipe your card twice because the one, it's great. You just waste $2.50 because you don't know what directions are. I've been there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's usually me. That's usually me running downstairs really quickly and be like, "Oh, this train's pulling away. I think I should get on it." And then you're like, "Fuck!" And you're like, "Fuck, I got on the wrong one."
But then you see a new part of New York accidentally, and you're late for whatever you're trying to get to.
Yep.
And then last question: do you have a least favorite kids show or song, like something that your kids used to watch all the time, where you're like, "This is trash. I despise this."
In talking with you and telling you how much I've been around in my kids' lives when they were young.
Yes.
Like my son was born in February, and then my wife was home with him as long as she could. And then she's like, I think I'm going to be ready to go back to work in about 5 or 6 weeks. And then I'm going to tag you in. And then what I did when he was born, 15, is when I stepped in, I just took the rest of my school year off. I took sick days.
Yeah.
So like that, I had like a month and a half off, and then I had summer also.
Cool. Yeah.
So I was home with him for like 3 months.
Hell yeah.
Which is fascinating. Great. So he was very young then, but my daughter at the time was 3.5. Her first word, by the way, was Bob for SpongeBob. So
nice.
that's what she was into. And I can handle SpongeBob, and I can handle, like, she was super into Dora, and I liked a lot of those shows. Sophia the First. Were you into that? Were any of your kids into that?
I was able to avoid Sophia the First. I think we found some of those.
That was actually really cool, and I like a lot of those.
Yeah.
But the one that I can't handle is Caillou.
Yes, it's the most common answer.
Is it really?
Yes.
It makes sense.
Every dad is like, I hate his voice. I don't understand what he's trying to teach my kid. I don't like it is the most consistent answer.
And is there another one with a little dog kind of family creature? Is it Arthur?
Is there
like
one with like
yeah,
like it was on PBS.
Yeah, some of those were pretty crazy and just not my thing.
No, Caillou is the most common answer. Every dad is like, he's got a weak voice. Why is he bald? Like, everyone's just like, I'm now despising a cartoon child because he makes my life so because I don't like what he does.
Yeah. Yeah, not an entertaining cartoon. Not fun.
Nope. And then only other thing, just moment for self-promotion. I don't feel like if you wanted to like say Instagram or anything like that, just a moment for promotion.
Okay. Right now, I have a band. You mentioned the Promise Ring. Dan from the Promise Ring and I have a D&D stoner rock band called Fight Dice because we're all D&D nerds.
That's fantastic.
So we had a record that came out last year. When I said I was practicing last night, that's the band I was practicing.
That's amazing.
We got a show coming up in a couple weeks, and then Hey Mercedes is going to kind of start doing some stuff more this year.
Mm-hmm.
You can find us easily on Instagram. I can go ahead and say this because by the time this comes out, the announcement will be probably a month out. But we're finally getting around and got some licensing agreements to get all of our Hey Mercedes records back in print on vinyl.
That's
so
awesome.
Polyvinyl is doing all that stuff. It'll be coming out in the spring, and then we'll be doing some shows here and there. We may or may not be doing some shows with Jimmy Eat World. So it's like a 25-year comeback kind of thing, awesome. Because they're going to be doing some Bleed American shows this year, and we might be playing some shows with them.
That's cool.
I think Braid is playing in Milwaukee in the summer, possibly with our old friends Dashboard Confessional.
Cool.
And, just like we had talked about earlier, everybody's super busy, but, playing music, we're lucky. We're like brothers. I've been playing with the same group of guys for 30 years. It's crazy.
That's impressive. That's awesome.
So the fact that we can, like I said, this stuff about Chris and that we're all healthy and the fact that we can get out and play, we're going to do it when we can. And then, people are always like, whoa, do another tour. It's like, we have families and lives.
You got a lot going on.
And jobs. I can't just quit my career to go play in Oklahoma or whatever.
No. That doesn't come with health insurance, playing a one-off gig or two.
It does not. Yeah, it does not. But we do what we can, and
of course,
what we can do, we make work. And if we can't, if one of us says, you know what, that's not going to work for you, that's too stressful, we just pass on it.
Yeah,
awesome. And the fact that we're all around or approaching 50 and can get out there and jump around like a bunch of idiots, and people care to come see us play, we're lucky. We're blessed that way, so it's nice.
Yeah, well, it also makes me like so much more eager to support you guys. Or if you are around town and I can make it to a show, because I know you guys are coming with that energy of like, God, this is so cool. You guys are on stage with some of your best friends playing music that you love to be able to play.
And
like, why not be a part of that? Yeah,
so stoked to be able to still do it. So Braid and Hey Mercedes still kind of active and out there and doing things when we can. So it's pretty great.
That's awesome. Yeah, for the most part, man. Thanks for spending some time with me. Thanks for hanging out and enjoy your Christmas break. Enjoy the chaos of Christmas with kids at home and enjoy every second of it, man.
Thank you so much for listening to the episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at the Imperfect Dads Podcast. And make sure to give us 5 stars wherever you listen to us. Music, editing, and production is all done by me. Make sure to tune in on Mondays and most Thursdays for new episodes. This podcast is part of the Never Effaced Network. Make sure to go to nevereffacednetwork.com to learn more about them.